Let your soul stay present for this, because by the time a person reaches this stage, the danger is no longer simple denial or empty words. Before this, in stage 2, step 7, you began understanding how a human being can slowly separate outward appearance from inner reality until belief becomes performance instead of transformation. But now you are entering stage 2, step 8, and this is where the human soul begins deceiving itself while believing it remains completely aware. This is one of the most dangerous conditions a person can enter because self-deception rarely feels like deception. While it is happening, most people imagine deception as something directed toward others. Manipulation, dishonesty, hiding truth externally. But the deeper deception begins when the human being starts lying to themselves internally while protecting the illusion they created. At first it happens subtly. A person justifies actions they already know are wrong. They silence discomfort instead of listening to it. They twist truth slightly in order to protect ego, desire, pride, status, or attachment. And because the consequences are not immediate, they begin believing nothing inside them is changing. But internally, something dangerous has already started. The human mind has an incredible ability to protect the identity a person chooses to live by. Once someone becomes emotionally attached to a false version of themselves, the mind slowly stops seeking truth honestly and begins searching for comfort instead. This is why people can continue destructive patterns while fully convincing themselves they are still good, aware, or sincere. And this is where stage 2, step 8 reveals its terrifying depth. Human beings do not only deceive others, they slowly create internal illusions strong enough to blind themselves from their own reality. The frightening part is they often feel intelligent, justified, and emotionally certain while it is happening. Have you noticed how people sometimes defend the very things destroying them? A person may continuously sabotage relationships yet believe everyone else is the problem. Another may chase endless validation while claiming they do not care what others think. Another may live entirely for ego while convincing themselves they are spiritually awakened. This is how self-deception works. It protects the false self from being exposed. And psychologically, this becomes extremely dangerous because repeated self-justification reshapes perception itself. Once the mind repeatedly chooses emotional comfort over truth, honesty begins feeling threatening instead of freeing. Reflection becomes uncomfortable. Accountability feels offensive. Correction feels like attack. Slowly the person stops growing because growth requires confronting reality honestly. There are people living entire lives trapped inside identities they carefully built to escape facing themselves. Some hide behind intelligence, some behind spirituality, some behind success, relationships, morality, status, or constant distraction. But internally, the soul continues carrying unresolved contradiction, and no amount of external performance can permanently silence it. This is why many people today feel emotionally exhausted without understanding why. Maintaining illusion consumes enormous energy. Pretending to be aligned while internally disconnected creates tension the soul was never designed to carry. The human being begins feeling restless, anxious, empty, reactive, or spiritually numb because something inside knows the truth, even while the conscious mind keeps avoiding it. Now another realization begins emerging. The greatest lies are often the ones a person repeats internally until they become identity. I'm fine, I know what I'm doing. I do not need to change. I already understand enough. These quiet internal narratives slowly block transformation because they remove urgency from self-reflection. And over time, another layer forms. The person no longer recognizes warning signs clearly. They mistake temporary pleasure for peace, ego for confidence, distraction for happiness, stimulation for fulfillment. They become emotionally attached to illusions while believing they are moving toward freedom. But internally, they continue drifting further from themselves. There are moments where you can see this clearly in human behavior. Some people destroy their peace chasing desires that never satisfy them, yet continue believing fulfillment is just one more achievement away. Others repeatedly hurt themselves through toxic habits, arrogance, dishonesty, or pride, while still seeing themselves as completely aware. The issue is not lack of intelligence. The issue is that self-deception changes perception before the person realizes it. And the deeper this condition grows, the more difficult honesty becomes. Because eventually truth no longer threatens behavior alone. It threatens identity itself. Admitting reality would require the person to confront how much time, energy, emotion, and life has been invested into illusion. And many people would rather protect illusion than rebuild themselves, honestly from the beginning. But if these words create discomfort inside you, then something important is still alive within your soul. The ability to question yourself honestly is not weakness, it is protection. Many people lose that ability completely. They become so identified with illusion that they no longer recognize the distance between who they pretend to be and who they truly are internally. And this condition does not appear randomly. It grows slowly through repeated avoidance of truth, repeated justification of ego, repeated refusal to confront the self sincerely. Every moment where illusion feels safer than honesty adds another layer between the human being and clarity. They seek to deceive Allah and the believers, yet they only deceive themselves, but they fail to perceive it, not just as words, but as a description of the human condition where a person becomes trapped inside their own illusion while believing they remain fully aware. Every moment where ego protected falsehood, every moment where comfort became more important than honesty, every moment where someone convinced themselves they were hiding truth successfully, while their own soul carried the damage internally. It all connects back to this awareness. This statement was revealed by Allah to Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, to expose how dangerous self-deception becomes when the human being stops confronting themselves sincerely. And if this message reaches you deeply, then somewhere within you, your soul still desires truth more than illusion. You still recognize moments where your conscience speaks before ego silences it. You still feel the tension between comfort and honesty. That awareness itself is mercy, because many people lose the ability to see themselves clearly long before they realize they are lost. It does not matter what religion you belong from. You are not here accidentally. Somewhere in your life, you encountered this truth, reflected on it, or felt it quietly within yourself, even if you could not explain it fully at the time. This message reaches those who are still capable of waking up before illusion completely consumes their perception. And if you truly want to reach your right destination in this life and the hereafter, then bear witness that there is no God but one, the only true authority worthy of worship. And Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, is his final messenger. This is your invitation to stop deceiving yourself before the distance between your soul and reality becomes too great to recognize.